Hey there, thank you for tuning in and for streaming First Alert Weather Plus on AtlantaNewsFirst.com, or perhaps you're watching it in the Atlanta News First app, the First Alert Weather app. We are streaming across the board this morning, and this morning is a good morning to watch as we await a severe weather event, severe weather outbreak to occur across much of the Mid-South, and that will move into North Georgia as we get into the overnight hours tonight. So really this evening, overnight, that's the time to watch. You're waking up this morning, weather's great, a few clouds out there, some gusty breezes. It'll get windier, it'll get warmer, and then we are tracking showers and thunderstorms moving into North Georgia this evening and overnight tonight. So we have current temperatures, we have current first alert radar up right now. Notice how there are some showers up in Catoosa County, Dade, Whitfield counties out of the Atlanta News First viewing area, and that's it for the state of Georgia. No warnings are in effect, though we do already have a couple of alerts to talk about in preparation for what's coming up this afternoon. We do have a flood watch in effect as well as a wind advisory. We'll talk about the wind first. That's something everyone's going to be dealing with today. Again, pretty gusty. Wind advisory goes into effect, or it went into effect 3 minutes ago at 11 a.m., and it will remain in effect through the duration of today on into the early hours of our Friday morning. Keep in mind, this alert is not because of thunderstorm winds. These are just normal winds, gradient winds we call them, arriving with this storm system. So even though we're going to see some sunshine, even though temperatures are going to warm up, and we're not going to have any storms to deal with this afternoon, winds are going to howl. So if you are headed out, for example, to the Atlanta St. Patrick's Day Parade, you can stream it on Peachtree TV. Also, you can stream it again on any streaming platform. Atlanta News First is covering the parade. We have a crew down there, as well as a crew stationed and ready to go for evening coverage of storms. So just because we're at the parade and weather's nice now doesn't mean we're ignoring the forecast later today. But good news for not only St. Patrick's Day parade plans, but any errands you have to get done, any preparation you may want to do around the house. Weather is good through mid-afternoon. It'll be windy, especially in Midtown. You know, Peachtree Street roughly running from north to south. You're going to have a headwind almost that entire time, and could be funneled around some of those buildings in Midtown Atlanta, gusting even stronger than the forecast wind gusts, 30 to 40 miles an hour. And I think it will get windier at times this evening and overnight tonight. Again, today is a great day to have the First Alert Weather app. Good tool to have. That way, you know, it's Saturday in Atlanta. It's a Saturday before St. Patrick's Day. A lot of folks have plans. The First Alert Weather app can keep you in touch no matter where you are. You don't have to plant yourself in front of a TV. You can always get updates in the First Alert Weather app. You can stream our newscasts as well. And on that note, now that we're almost 5 minutes into the stream, I want to let you know that you can ask your weather questions, leave a comment. Maybe you have a concern about a specific time period or event you're going to today. You can do so on YouTube. We're streaming right now at Atlanta News First, or on Atlanta News First YouTube account. Just type in the YouTube search bar up top, Atlanta News First. Or you can simply text us, and I can pop that screen, that phone number up for you right now, much like you would text a friend, a family member, a loved one about the weather. You know, give us a heads up. Let us know what you're seeing, but also you can ask your weather questions, 470-777-WANF. That is 470-777-9263. And we will be monitoring this thread throughout the day, so even if we're outside of stream time, feel free to text your question. Or if you just want a general check of the forecast, just text weather, WEATHER, to that number, 470-777-WANF. Visco Girl on YouTube saying just in time for virtual Atlanta St. Patrick's Day Parade. Yeah, you can watch it. Good news, though, here is that forecast. Weather is fine through parade time, kicks off at noon. Carlos Sullivan asking, can I please explain the 70-mile-per-hour wind scenario? So the wind gusts, you know, reaching 70 miles an hour, that would be with severe thunderstorms, which are possible, really likely, this evening and overnight tonight. So it's just the thunderstorms that are organized enough to become severe, to reach severe levels, Carlos, that'll produce those winds, 60, 70, 80-mile-an-hour gusts. Now, outside of those storms, pretty much everyone is going to gust 30 to 50 through the evening and the overnight hours, both away from storms and then as those storms blast through North Georgia. It's going to be very, very windy, and it doesn't take 80-mile-an-hour winds or even 70-mile-an-hour winds to cause damage and power outages. So wind is going to be an issue, but as far as those strongest gusts, you know, 70, 80 miles an hour, Carlos, that will be tied to severe thunderstorms. The wind gusts that are 30 to maybe 40 or a little stronger, those could be blowing at any time, especially this afternoon, this evening, preceding storms. it's going to be windy. Even with some sunshine this afternoon, it'll be windy, preceding the heavy rain, preceding the thunder and the lightning. But the most intense winds, Carlos, are going to be tied to severe thunderstorms. That line of storms as it moves through. Again, gusts up to 80. Possible with a few of those storms. Large hail, perhaps larger than quarter size. It's about golf ball size or so. And a handful of tornadoes a possibility. Could be a tornado outbreak, especially to our west, meaning several tornadoes, numerous tornadoes. And also possible that those tornadoes could be stronger than what you would typically see, and they could be on the ground for longer than you would typically expect or see. We're talking about strong to violent tornadoes that are on the ground for many, many miles. That's a possibility, especially in central and eastern Alabama, Cleburne, Randolph counties, watching you in particular. The threat as far as Georgia is concerned for a strong tornado or two, that is greatest, roughly along and to the west of I-75, generally from about Ellijay to Canton, Cobb County, Marietta, down into the city of Atlanta, especially South Fulton, down through Peachtree City, and then down into western Upson County. That's kind of your rough line. That line points west, where the risk of strong tornadoes will be greatest. I want to go ahead and walk you hour by hour. We've talked about the threats, the setup, the winds ahead of the risk of severe weather, and now it's the time to talk about timing. So here we are at 8 p.m., starting our forecast model, Cleburne and Randolph counties, two counties that Atlanta News First is responsible for covering in the event of severe weather. Already, storms moving in at 8 p.m. So your window, 6 to 8 p.m., still stands. There's a little bit of wiggle room there as far as when the worst of the weather exactly arrives in your neighborhood, your community, your street. But we're giving you that dinner time or so window, 6 to 8 p.m., Cleburne and Randolph counties in Alabama. Watch how storms continue to move eastward, again, still storming along the state line at 10 p.m. And that's what's tricky about this line of storms as it moves in to Georgia and gets closer to metro Atlanta. Individual storms, thunderstorms, producing possibly severe weather, will be moving pretty quickly southwest to north and east. But watch how this whole arm of rain, band of showers and thunderstorms, kind of only slowly moves off to the south and to the east. We're still going to stick with that window, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. as to when the worst of the weather will start to move into the immediate metro. And as you can see, midnight, we have nasty thunderstorms, West Metro moving into the city of Atlanta. And by 1 a.m., those storms are in the city of Atlanta. And any one of these storms could become severe. And as Carlos was asking earlier, it's the most organized storms, the strongest of the storms that will produce the worst of the weather. I think everyone's going to have a period of rough weather this evening and overnight tonight. But as far as, the largest hail, the strongest wind gusts, and the possibility of strong tornadoes, those will be tied to the strongest few storms of the bunch, as that makes sense. So not everyone is going to see those conditions that is impacted by this line, but everyone will see at least, some rough weather overnight tonight. Gusty winds, heavy rain, probably tons of lightning. Storms have been producing incredible amounts of lightning already to our west and northwest this morning, and it's a similar setup this evening and overnight tonight. So I would fully expect just as noisy of storms, regardless of the severe weather threat, to be moving through metro Atlanta and all of North Georgia. Speaking of hour-by-hour forecast, notice how the worst of the weather by 2 to 3 a.m. is sliding east of the city of Atlanta. In Athens, 3 to 4 a.m., Eatonton, 3 to 4 a.m., that's when the weather will really start to go downhill thunderstorm-wise for you. So Clark and Oconee counties, down into Eatonton, Lake St. Clair and Oconee. If you're staying in those areas this weekend, it's a big weekend before St. Patrick's Day, maybe you left the city and you headed over there, you will be dealing with storms a little later than everyone else. The last communities, east side of town, East Metro and East Georgia, the last to be impacted, and they will linger into the wee hours of Sunday morning. Algernon on YouTube, can Atlanta see a severe weather outbreak? Certainly is possible that severe weather will occur in metro Atlanta, and I would say likely severe weather will occur. Now, severe weather outbreak, as far as gusty winds, knocking out power to so many people, knocking down numerous trees, that is a distinct possibility. And yes, in the immediate metro, there could be tornadoes tonight. The ingredients are there for a tornado or two to move through the metro. That risk is heightened or even greater to our west, but certainly the possibility is there for both destructive wind gusts and tornadoes in metro Atlanta this evening and overnight tonight. But then storms get out of here and we see the conditions improve Sunday. So Sunday, a first alert weather day for morning storms. Algernon, can Atlanta see an upgrade to level 4 risk? Parts of the metro are already under a level 4 risk, and at this point, it's kind of moot. Whether you're under a 3 or a 4, the risk of severe weather is there tonight. Even if your community, your neighborhood is not shaded in red, it's shaded in orange, doesn't mean you can, not pay attention to the forecast. Any other day, an enhanced risk of severe weather would be something to really pay attention to. It just may seem less because it's up against level 4 and level 5 risk. West of Atlanta on into West Georgia, and then that level 5 in eastern Alabama back into central Alabama. So Sunday, 74 in the afternoon, just a spotty rain chance. First alert weather day for the early morning hours as severe weather blasts through. St. Patrick's Day, good news. We're back to nice weather in the first alert forecast, 60s, and sunshine, noticeably cooler. So Sunday morning, storms move through, upper 50s, 60s. But Monday morning, sunshine, 30s and lower 40s in the first alert forecast. Tuesday, we're back in the mid-70s, lots of sunshine, upper 70s. If you're watching Braves on Gray here in Metro Atlanta, Peachtree TV, of course, gorgeous weather here. Maybe watching it out on the patio on a Wednesday. It's going to be nice if you have the time in the afternoon to do just that. And then cooler again, chance of a few showers Thursday. And we're going to keep the cooler air Friday on into the weekend. Algernon asking, can Georgia see long track tornadoes? Absolutely, that is a possibility, as we've been talking about for the past few days. Wind gusts to 80 miles an hour, large hail, and long track tornadoes, meaning tornadoes that are on the ground for many, many miles. Typically, a tornado touches down, and a few minutes later, it's lifted back up. But tonight's tornadoes could be strong and on the ground for a significant period of time. That risk is greatest, though, this afternoon in Alabama. Where you see that level 4 risk, strong tornado is still a possibility, and there could be a strong tornado or two even in East Georgia. But if we had to pick an area that has the greatest risk of severe weather, of long track, strong to violent tornadoes, that would be in Alabama, with a slightly lower, lesser risk of those sort of conditions in central Georgia and on into East Georgia. But certainly severe weather is possible, if not likely, across all of North Georgia. Everyone has a risk, a chance of seeing the severe conditions tonight. Not a guarantee your neighborhood's going to see the 80-mile-per-hour wind or the hail bigger than quarters, or that your neighborhood's going to be hit by a tornado. That certainly is not the guarantee, but the possibility is there, and someone is going to be dealing with those conditions this evening and overnight tonight, which is why we are reiterating the risk and want you to keep an eye on the forecast. So for dinner plans, already start to be tuning back into the forecast. Alerts turned on in the First Alert Weather app. We'll have a streaming newscast tonight at 6 p.m. and coverage through the evening on streams like this one, First Alert Weather Plus, also in the First Alert Weather app. And across all platforms, we have you covered. Social media as well. I want to thank you for tuning in and for watching. We're not leaving you. Reminder, St. Patrick's Day Parade kicking off in Midtown Atlanta at noon. We'll be streaming coverage, giving you weather updates during that stream as well. Looking like the weather's going to hold out. Decent weather coming up for the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Windy, yes, but better than what we're expecting this evening and overnight tonight. So you can get outside. You can enjoy today, get stuff done, but it needs to be wrapped up, those plans, those activities, heading into the evening.